And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, after quite a break there, I do apologize for the extended break, but we had some technical issues which we have since resolved, and now we have returned with our final semifinals match here of the tournament. We are back with MaxPax versus Solar. Let's go. As a reminder, the winner of this series will face off against Hero in the grand finals, and if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Predictions are open, so place your bets on how you think this series will go. The way of the Zerg or the way of the Protoss. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of side Delta, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing on side Gaming. It is Solar. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Danish Protoss player representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. We go. Again, we had a very dynamic and a very aggressive initial semifinals between Dark and Hero. But we didn't really get to sink our teeth into it. Like we had some very aggressive styles on Alkione and of course on in game number 2 on Solaris as well. But here we should be getting into the mid game at least. We should be getting into a stable economy. Like last game, it was just like, you know, ninja bases, gold bases, proxy hatches, 12 pools, just hyper aggressive stuff. Here, we're calming things down between Solar and MaxPax, and we should be able to get a longer series out of this and get into, you know, the mid game, maybe even the late game. Let's go. I hope that's the case at least. But now, hatch gas pool out of Solar, so a standard opener. We see MaxPax likewise going for a gate expand into a cyber core as well, so yeah, pretty economic stuff, pretty standard openers for the time being, which I should point out because that's something that we didn't have in the last series. We didn't have it at all. So important to point out. As we are looking for our tech, I imagine MaxPax is going to be going for a Stargate opener this time. That would make plenty of sense to get into a third base economy to get into the mid game. Again, the pylon is a little bit further out, so this is poised for a Stargate. Usually, if it's a Twilight Council, we throw down the pylon closer to the mineral line so we can hide the tech from the Overlord. There it is. There's that Stargate. So again, it's only a couple of seconds. Basically, you want the Stargate a little bit further out, so the Oracle gets across the map that much faster. It's only a couple seconds faster, but hey, in a game like StarCraft, every second does count. Behind this, Solar getting his third base up and running. Going to be saturating his natural. Creep is being spread. Queens are getting in position, and yeah, so far, again, the game is Solar just making sure he doesn't lose anything to these initial adepts. First adept has arrived, and Solar should be able to keep up. As we shade into the main base, we kind of just hand over to the Queen. We're able to keep up here. We have additional links on the way. So far, we haven't really lost much here, but it looks like that first adept is joined by a second. We can one-shot workers. We threaten the mineral line. Good reaction out of Solar. He does pull back. Does keep every worker alive. Even takes down an adept. 4 links for 1 adept. Not a bad trade here for Solar. As he deals with the first wave of aggression, now here comes the second wave with the Oracles. Here comes the first Oracle. Behind this, we should be expanding and taking that third base. Now, this third is a little bit more vulnerable because we only have 1 adept to defend instead of 2. But the Oracle actually stays at home, even activates its Pulsar Beam. A nice bait out of Solar, forcing some wasted energy here. Gets 1 link kill before moving out. And back at home, what is our Queen movement looking like? We have 1 Queen in the main base, we have a Spore here at the natural, and the rest of the Queens, yeah, they do come across the Oracle. Getting quite a lot of damage done already. As the first Oracle does distract some of these Queens, we have the second going straight for the third base, and it's exposed! No Spore, no Queens! Quick reaction out of Solar. Oh my god, he does keep everything alive! Very nice moves. The Oracle rotates around, but we have 2 Queens in the main, and Solar hasn't lost anything. Very impressive, especially here at the third base. I thought damage was 100% going to be done, but alas, Solar, he was able to react in time. Saved, oh my god, saved everything as we have quite a transition here. We have a Forge, a Twilight Council, and of course 4 gateways as well. That's going to be 6 gates in total. This is looking like +1 charge. It could be +1 in blink, but if we're going for this many gateways this early on, like, that is a little bit suspect. We'll see. We'll see what direction we do go in. As there we go, it is going to be +1 and blink. So my eyes are now on MaxPax here. Does he throw down 2 more gateways? For now, this is a 6-gate setup. Hasn't taken additional gases here at the third base yet. If he throws down 2 more gateways, it's going to be a 3-base all-in. And I haven't really seen that in quite some time. It kind of fell out of fashion. It used to be very common and very popular here in the last map pool. Lings, they dive in, they get a kill on the shield battery. Nowadays, I think the only pro player that we see go for 3-base all-ins with Blink Stalkers is Hero. Haven't really seen that out of many other players anymore. Behind this, Solar, he skips the Roach Warren. I should have pointed that out earlier, but we have additional gases being taken. No Roach Warren. Ling Hydra is the composition of choice, and Solar happens to be going up against Stalkers, which is ideal. Ling Hydra, they are ideal against Stalkers, and we have a smooth transition into Lunkers as well, into Lurker play. MaxPax back at home and getting into another Nexus, working towards his 4th. Again, just for now, heavily reliant on a gateway-focused army on Blink Stalkers. He's going to be pushing out. Solar, he should get his Lings out in time. It's going to be close. As the Stalkers, they do threaten this hatchery. Oh, do threaten the 4th. The Queens are coming in. Lings reinforce as well. They get 1 Stalker. Blink isn't done. And Solar, he just ignores the army. He goes for a big counterattack instead. And he's looking for a surround on these Stalkers, but doesn't quite get it. He does see the 4th, but he can't quite do much about it. Behind this, we are going for a gateway-heavy composition. I did see the 2nd Forge on the way, so really interesting here out of MaxPax. It's very momentum-based. So instead of throwing down a 2nd Robo, instead of throwing down a Robotics Bay for Colossus and Immortals and Disruptors, or even Storm, no, we throw down a 2nd Forge instead. 2 more gateways, 8 gates in total. It's going to be a Swarm Toss style, Blink Stalkers and Charge Lots. So no high-tech units here from MaxPax, just a massive gateway army. Instead, we do have a big Link counterattack at the same time. Shield Battery Overcharge is popped. Back at home, Solar is holding. He is holding. And there is that Lurker Den on the way. And I'm concerned because there's no answer to the Lurkers. There's no Immortals, no Disruptors, no Sky Toss. Solar is threatening a dive into the natural. He's holding on with his Hydras. MaxPax cannot break him. Not with purely Stalker. With Zealots, yeah, he probably could. But Charge is still on the way. Robotics Bay now gets thrown down. There's going to be a window. There's going to be a window where Solar has Lurkers and MaxPax only has Stalkers and Zealots. Fungal does miss. But Solar, he's just sending it through the center of the map. Now, thankfully for MaxPax, it looks like Solar doesn't want to push out with Lair Tech Lurkers. He's waiting for the Hive. Big warp in into the main. Ooh, and a big reaction out of Solar. He's completely out of position. We have Zealots pushing into the 4th base, into the main as well. And their main army is pushing towards the 3rd. Solar, can he keep up? Queens are going down. Ooh. Big losses here for Solar. But the Zealots are being cleaned up when these 6 workers go down. Oh my god, the Infestors! They do land a Fungal, and they get a couple of Stalkers. No! The last Infestor is going to go down as well. Again, Solar a little bit distracted by the Zealots. Prism, it's coming back into the main as well. MaxPax doing such a great job here, just pulling Solar apart. Lurker range is on the way, but still no lurkers. This hatchery is taking a lot of damage. Chinsu's barely not going to be enough. Ah, the base goes down. The hatchery does fall. And we're getting on top of Hydras as well. These are becoming some expensive losses. Finally, lurkers are on the way. But is it too late? Because it's no longer just Zealots and Stalkers. Now we do have Colossus. Only one for now. And I believe, yeah, no range. No Colossus range here for MaxPax. These lurkers, they can still be a kill move. They can still catch MaxPax off guard. Slings do go for a counterattack. They catch, or they try to catch a base. MaxPax does have a pretty insane economy. He's on 81 workers. Extended Thermal Lance now in production. On 5 bases. Solar still on 4. Oh, the lurkers. A little bit slow to borrow. Looks like one lurker may go down. Ah, they're exposed. Oh my god. Worried for them, Papi. Worried for them. As Solar has to pull back. Again, big Zealot warping into the main base. This time not really gaining too much value. He's going to go down. Fungal on the army, and now Solar, he can dive on this. MaxPax hasn't been bleeding out too much. Especially this most recent Zealot attack has been a little bit wasteful. We are just rotating towards that third base once again. Zealots are found. We do get one of the Colossus. If we had if we had Vipers, it would be a completely different game in this. But the Prism goes down. Overextension from MaxPax. And is it now too much? Because Solar is maxed. Again, I would love to see Vipers, but instead we're going for a Ling, a Hydra Lurker Infestor. Collapse on those Colossus. Trying to dive on top of them. Looks like we get one. One Colossus goes down. The Nova. Nova goes off, but it doesn't connect. So making 2-3 disruptors at a time. MaxPax, he can cold with this. Just need some half-decent connections. Ooh, 2 lurkers go down already. Again, with the arrival of disruptors, and if we don't really respect that, if we don't respond to it, then we could just lose everything. And here we go, the lurkers are exposed. 3 of them go down. Zealot Runby is coming in. Constant Zealot Runby is here, just pulling Solar apart, dragging him back home. It looks like MaxPax, he's done it. There was a time in this game where MaxPax was actually in a lot of trouble here, but he gets 18 drones. He picks apart all these lurkers as well. So many of them going down one after the other. Decent spine shots. We're diving on top of the army. Up. But it's still not going to be enough. Solar's just been bleeding out far too much over the course of this game. Been losing too much, and now the lurkers are exposed. Decent fungal, but the Novas go up. They take down almost every single lurker. Oh my god, the connections are unreal. And GG gets called. Solar, he runs out of steam, runs out of an economy and an army, and MaxPax takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. MaxPax, sorry, Solar even, he was ahead at some point in this game, at certain points, many points even, when he was the first to max out. He had gone into Hive Tech, into Lurker Tech as well, but again, he wanted to be so aggressive, but he was just having such a hard time keeping up with the constant harass of MaxPax, and he just refused to tech up, refused to go into Vipers. just sticking with infestors instead, which was interesting. We had some decent fungals, but nowadays, because the fungal growth doesn't really do too much damage, like, you need more than just connecting with the fungal. You need a follow-up, you need an army there to punish, and that wasn't always the case for Solar. At times we would see some fungals and they'd be good, and then they just run out. They just run out and the Protoss army would just back off from there. And with that, MaxPax has a lead in this series, and it's a best of 3. One more game is all MaxPax needs. As we're loading into our next map, it is going to be Hecate. Oh, let's go. Here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Team Onside. It is Solar. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Danish Protoss representing Storm Gaming. One game away from making it to the grand finals. It is MaxPax. And are we going to see a PvP finals? Again, Hero 2-0 Dark earlier. He's waiting in those finals. Are we going to see a repeat? Is MaxPax going to do the same to Solar? Again, a very different dynamic. Hero versus Dark was over in like 10 minutes. It was just a very aggressive, very high-octane series out of them. Here between Solar and MaxPax, it was very different. Both players getting into the mid game. I still stand by the fact that Solar did get into the mid game in a much better position. He had a solid economy. He was able to get into Ling Hydra, into his hive tech as well. I do think though that MaxPax was able to accomplish a lot with a little. It felt like MaxPax was being very in the face of Solar despite having very little at home to really defend. So he was just kind of puffing up his chest and hoping to keep Solar distracted, and he did, long enough to get into Robo production, into Colossus, into eventually Disruptors. By the time they came out, it didn't matter that Solar had Lurkers, there was an answer for it. We did have something to deal with said Lurkers just in time. And I should say, because of how aggressive MaxPax was, it delayed Lurker production. It did keep Solar in a lower tech army, did even keep his base count and economy in check as well. But now we're loading into Hecate, and this is another very macro-oriented map. I would say that it's much easier to get up to 4 and then 5 bases on this map compared to Side Delta, for example, which is the map that we were just on. So we could end up in like another mid-game scenario. I'm curious kind of the direction that MaxPax takes us in. Once again, based on the pylon location, this is looking like a Stargate opener. But we'll see, because there we go. I was like, we have Warp Gate on the way, but we cancel the Warp Gates and we start up the Stargate. So once again, Oracles. And Solar should see and recognize that for a time there, the Cybercore wasn't researching, which is a tell that it was, of course, a Stargate. So Solar should know. He should know, he should be aware. First is that does arrive. Going to be able to threaten the bases. Shaded towards that natural, but so far Solar keeping up. Remember, winding it back, Solar, he didn't take any damage to the Oracle Harass. Or even the Adept Harass as well. Like, it happened so long ago, but Solar, he had such an impressive early game. In game 1, we'll see if he can replicate that. We can do it again here in game number 2. Oh, as one drone already goes down. Good target firing out of MaxPax. Solar's just focusing on saturating his bases, getting his queens up and running. Oracles are moving out. We are about to have 2 queens in the main base and 2 queens here at the natural. So far, the Oracle doesn't find too much damage, but the Adepts, they find a drone. Get a drone at that third. Sling's going to be coming in, and This time it looks like MaxPax is finding more damage. A couple of workers go down. Another drone is exposed. Barely morphs into that spore. And MaxPax does have to be careful not to lose this Oracle. The Adepts will be cleaned up, but not before getting another drone in the main as well. 4 workers do go down. We get, well, we get a 5th and a 6th drone here at the 3rd base, and this is getting out of control. Oh my god, 9 workers. 9 worker kills, and both Oracles are still alive. They still pose a threat in the main. Solar skipping Roaches, going for a Bailey Nest instead. A bold move. This is, in a way, at times more cost efficient. We could even try and go for a Bailing counterattack as well, or even a Bane Bust. Solar's making links. It looks like Solar, as I'm reading this, it looks like he has recognized he's lost too much. Yep, there we go. 20 more links on the way. Solar, he has lost far too many drones throughout the course of this game. 13 drones in total. He knows he cannot get into the mid game here in a good enough position. He knows that he is all in. So he doubles down, throws down the Bailey Nest. The Bane Bust is upon us. One way or another, the game will end. MaxPax just did too much damage, and he's forcing Solar's hand. Here we go, Solar. He is going to be... the Baileys have been spotted! No, not like this. They have been spotted. Lings, they head straight for the 3rd base. Bailings are looking exposed, and the Oracles, they will focus them down. One after another. Only 2 will connect. Overcharges popped, and Solar, he's running out of steam. There's nothing left, only Lings. GG gets called. The Bane Bust fails, and MaxPax will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. I was praising Solar. I was praising him for how well he defended in game 1, how little damage the Adepts and Oracles did from MaxPax, but here in game 2, it was just too much. Just became far too much at this level of play to lose 13 drones. That is basically a mineral line. To lose a mineral line in the early game is massive, and we could go one of 2 ways. This is the difference between Solar and Dark. Solar, he went for a Ling Bane Bust. Dark most likely would have just droned and just turtled and like rushed his way into Hive and into Lurkers, like we saw against Showtime. So again, 2 different kind of roads that you can take. Either be just really defensive and just turtle up and just give up map control, or you just double down and go all in. But alas, here, this time, MaxPax was able to just completely shut it down without too much issue. Like, very impressive performance here out of MaxPax. He advances on to the grand finals.